Hey, shalom, everybody. Shalom. Welcome to the Way Remnant. I'm Jeff Brannon,
And I'm Miranda Brannon.
and we are on cloud nine tonight. Excited. I tell you what, guys, buckle up. We have a special treat tonight. We've got brother Dr. Tony O'Donnell back in the green room right now. He is ready to come out. Miranda, this is, guys, I'm so excited about this show. Listen,
this is an honor.
you need to go out and share the show right now. You need to be telling your friends and your family, get online right now. You don't get an opportunity like this. This is a national guest. He has like all over the world. In our small little setting that we have, guys, you're going to be able to ask some great questions and have some really good one-on-one. I'm telling you what, it's just going to be an amazing show tonight. We're very excited about that.
We do have a disclaimer.
We do have a disclaimer. We are not handing out medical advice tonight. These are just this is some information to help educate you on different supplements and different protocols and things like that that have been shown helpful. But again, these are things that you need to research out and look into yourself, talk to your doctor about. We're not offering any medical advice tonight, but guys, get ready. This is some amazing stuff tonight. Um, Dr. Tony he's a nutritionist.
He's
right?
known as the herb doctor.
He's known as the herb doctor. We found him probably in 2021.
Yes.
Through Dr. John Bergman, great doctor out in California, that's helped us with some various issues that we've had and had some very good success.
Yep. You can find him on YouTube.
Yeah. Love Dr. Bergman. So, hey guys, without further ado, we're going to bring Dr. Tony on. Dr. Tony, good to see you.
Good to see you, folks. Hello, Miranda. Hello, Jeff. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm so blessed and thankful and grateful. It is my honor, and I love your fireplace in the background. I have a nice fireplace over there. I didn't light it just yet, but I'm wrapped up because it's still rather cold here in Southern California. Hard to believe that, but we've had more rain than ever before. So thank you. I'm totally blessed to be with you.
Well, thank you.
We are so honored and so excited to have you on the program. We found you through Dr. Bergman. We were talking about it just even right after we talked a while ago. I think it was about 2021.
Yeah, at first I thought it was in January, but it was actually when my parents had visited in October.
Yeah, and Miranda was having a couple issues in different areas. Dr. Bergman was able to help her with those. Actually called out to his office and was able to speak with some people. And they were so kind, so nice.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't able to drive, fly out to California to get treated. We're up in the northern area of West Virginia, and so it's a little bit of a trip to get out to California.
Yeah.
Well, I want to come visit you this summer. I think I'm going to come and take a road trip and come visit you. I have a Tesla car, so no gasoline. And so
nice.
I can drive anywhere I want to go. So if you have a charging station near me, brother Jeff, I'm right there.
we'll get you fixed up. That sounds great.
Yes,
sounds great. All right. Well, brother, we know a little bit about you, but just for our audience, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story? Tell us how you got into this line of life. How about that?
Sure, I'd be blessed. My late mother and father back in my native Ireland, where I grew up in a family of 11, they always told me, never be boasting, boy, never be boasting. So you asked the question, brother Jeff. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm from a family of 11, as I mentioned. I grew up on the farm back in Ireland, albeit it was a small little farm. I was a poor farm boy. I was never hungry. But I was very unhealthy. I was very sick. I was at the doctor all the time. My wonderful parents, Margaret and Joseph, were just magnificent. All my brothers and sisters, very loving, very kind. We're all still very close. So as a young man growing up on the farm, I was always seemingly at the doctor. I was always, it looked like, taking copious amounts of medication, and so was everybody else in the family. And indeed, so was the community and cousins and relatives and uncles and aunts, and everybody seemed to be on copious amounts of medication. That seemed to be the norm to me. And I was always seeking answers. So scripture says, whatever you are seeking is also seeking you. So I was seeking answers to my health. I know an awful lot about farming. Most people don't, but I know a lot about farming because I grew up on the farm. I know about tilling the land, cultivating the land, drilling the land, fertilizing the land, making sure it's watered and hydrated properly, and all those things. I learned about baling hay and planting potatoes and sowing the crops and making sure that the weeds did not get in there and make sure that the fungus didn't get in there and destroy the potato crop, as indeed which happened during the famine. But yet I was always sick and always at the doctor. And I was getting so much medication that I had a dream one night. Well, I didn't have a dream, I had a nightmare that I thought the boogeyman was coming after me. Remember, this is a farmhouse in the middle of the countryside, little narrow roads where two cars, it's impossible for them to pass by. That's how I grew up. Very, very low key, very strong family values, very strong Christian values, do good for others and all that type of thing, and just be kind and respectful, honorable and decent to everybody you come in touch with. And I love the family values that my wonderful, magnificent, beautiful parents instilled or installed, if you will, in all of us. And so I had this terrible nightmare. I thought the boogeyman was coming after me. And we had a forestry with huge big trees and huge big mounds of dirt that was dug up to plant all these trees. And in between, there was these ditches that were very, very deep. And that's where the water would cascade, and that's where the water would gather, I should say properly. And so I was running through the forestry. Can you imagine this as a young man running through the forest in the middle of a night after having nightmare from taking this medication? I also, unfortunately, I used to wet the bed as well as a young man. I'm not afraid to say that because a lot of people have that issue. I was so afraid in a country farmhouse that was pitch black, and I was having these nightmares, and I was afraid of the dark as a young man. And most people, they never tell you about their fears. They certainly can't go to your mom and say, Mama, I've got all these fears about different things. We don't get to express ourselves. And sometimes it's hard for us. I'm a clinical psychologist now and PhD and written 15 books. So you need to be able to express yourself and say, these are some of the things that I was faced with as a young man. So I thought the boogeyman was coming after me. I don't know if that has ever happened to any of you. And those of you watching the podcast as well. So I ran through the forestry, Brother Jeff and Miranda, and all of a sudden, I fell into some water. I was in an unconscious state, and I woke up because the water woke me up. And then I had to walk back in a conscious state. It's amazing what the body will do when you're in an unconscious state. Many of us today, unfortunately, are in a state of mindlessness. We're in a state of unconscious bliss, and we think we're actually really, truly living and committing to the Word of God, and when in fact we're not. And so I fell into this water and I walked back, and every step I took, thorns would go through my legs and my feet. And my late mother, by the time I got home, this is about 4 or 5 in the morning, I was covered in blood. She spent 2 days taking thorns out of my feet and out of my legs. I couldn't even walk or go to school at that time. And that was my turning point. That's when I started seeking, because scripture says, whatever you are seeking is also seeking you. To them that hath shall more be given, to them that hath not shall be taken away. I have given you every seed-bearing herb there is. Do not look to the skies for the answers to your health. Look under your own 2 feet, and be careful how you chew the humble grass, for it does not have teeth like the beast. That was the beginning of my journey towards medicinal, holistic, mindful approach to medicine, if you will, or healthcare.
Wow, that is quite a story. That's quite a journey.
Yeah.
Our program tonight is God-given health, healing from the inside out.
Yes.
And what you have brought to us, through various videos that we've seen with you and various things, that's exactly what's going on. Is you're taking what God has given us, every seed-bearing plant, all of these great things, the answer that Yah has given us, He's given us everywhere in this earth. And it just seems like everything that we have on the shelves to eat, Dr. Tony, it's just bad for you. You go into Walmart, you go into Kroger's, you go into to Costco, wherever you're going, and it's just almost like everything that's in there is designed to try to kill you and bring you down. How bad is it that we have to go in and try to find things to detox our bodies from all of this stuff that's just trying to kill us?
Yeah, corporations, with all due respect, are doing the best they can under the circumstances, but most corporations are designed to feed you food to make you fat. We're the fattest nation in the world. The law of attraction says we attract into our lives the people and circumstances that harmonize with our dominant thoughts. So when I go into a store, and I travel a lot, as you know, I usually shop around the outside, and I usually don't go to a store unless I know what that store is. So it's challenging for me sometimes when I do my media tours and trips for national news networks around the country. I try to find a holistic store, a juice bar, a Whole Foods, or someplace that I can go and get my regular food, and I bring it back to my hotel if I'm there for 2 or 3 days. And I usually buy enough when I travel because I use my non-gasoline car, my Tesla car, to drive everywhere. Mind you, I had a big beast of a car that was using gasoline before, and someone told me, "Did you know that over 1 million people die every year in China because of smog and smoke and asthma and pollution?" I thought,
Wow.
"Oh my goodness, why am I contributing to this?" And that's one
Sure.
of the reasons why I switched away from traditional automobiles. Not that there's anything wrong with them. I did not want to pollute the earth anymore. I did not want to pollute the city that I live in. There's enough pollution in that. And so, because I grew up in Ireland, Brother Jeff and Miranda, where you could actually take a handful of water like this and wash your face with it and drink the water out of the ditch on the side of the road. It was that clean.
Wow.
It was so
Wow.
beautiful. I
Wow.
missed that.
Wow.
I remember my late father taking me as a young boy and showing me the well that we had near our home. And they put limestone in the well, and the water was just pristine, magnificent. We used to go there, and you could literally feel it. You could feel it hydrating. And that's you're talking about living from the inside out or getting rid of the waste matter. We walk around with about 30 to 40 pounds of excess waste matter in our colon. Food
Wow.
transmit time on a typical Western diet is about 30 to 40 hours. So this is the statistic that I couldn't believe when I first moved from Ireland. I discovered this. Over 2 million men and women in the United States die of colon cancer. This is unacceptable. And you mentioned about some of these stores, these big box stores. There's more fiber in the box than there is in the actual food itself. It's just absolutely awful. So they're
Yeah.
making our children fat. They're giving them diabetes. And by the way, diabetes has gone up a whopping 300% or so in the last couple of years in the United States.
Yeah.
We are literally, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, biologically, the fattest nation in the world. We throw away millions of tons of food every year in the United States, but we're the most overfed, undernourished, overmedicated nation in the world. Something has to stop. Something has to give. This is why we want to feed the inside of our cells with live, rich, whole plant-based nutrients, particularly these superfoods, which we'll talk about a little later on the podcast.
Oh, I think that's great. Miranda and I, we tried to juice. We have a really nice juicer that
It's masticating.
masticating juicer. It's real slow. It takes its time doing it, but you know, for most people trying to juice, it's so tough. They're you got a husband and a wife. You got 2.5 kids. Both of them are working 9 to 5 jobs, trying to make ends meet in this society that we have, and to be able to go home and cook dinner and then set aside time to do all the washing and the preparing of everything that you're going to juice. It can be tough, and so that's one of the reasons that we while we do try to juice and juice,
We don't do it often.
we don't do it as often as we need to. But one of your products really opened our eyes, and it's your product called Radiant Greens. I want to pop your website up here just real quick.
Sure.
If you guys go to radiantgreens.com, you can find all of Dr. Tony's products. We're going to go back and we'll hit this again before we close out the program. But you can find all of his products out here. You can find all of his books. You mentioned that you wrote 15 books.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to bring that up. There we go. Miracle Pain Relief, Secrets, Diabetes Secrets, Superfoods, all this great stuff. But what we started off with you, brother, was your Radiant Greens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how? And that's this product right here in the center. I know Miranda held it up.
I don't know how well they can.
There we go. There we go. She held it up. Of course, we get the gluten free. Miranda has a celiac, and I have a gluten intolerance myself. So the gluten free version of it is just amazing. So can you tell us a little bit how Radiant Greens came into being?
Sure. Well, when I lost my father, my mother, my brother-in-law, uncle, cousin, fiance to heart disease and cancer, something inside of me stirred, and I thought to myself, I want more for my life. And many of you are watching this podcast. I know you want more for your life, and I say this so respectfully, Brother Jeff and Miranda. I know that you're much more than what you are right now. And I say that to challenge you because, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so I know you want much more for your life, for your family, for your community, for your church, for your friends, and also for yourself, because God gives you all those gifts, provided, of course, you use those gifts. Many people, simply go to their grave with their music. I heard this once. They go to their grave with their music still in them. So when I
Mm.
had all this sickness in my family, I wanted to do something, because whatever you are seeking is also seeking you. So I had immigrated to the United States, and I was dealing, first of all, with getting legal, trying to get my papers to stay here. That was always
Yeah.
just because I'm Irish and I have an accent doesn't mean that you're going to get legal right away. I had to jump through some really serious high hoops in order to get my papers here. But God just so blessed me and allowed me to be here, so that I could impact other people, such as we're doing on this podcast this evening. And so I started looking at green foods and why green foods were important. Well, first of all, Brother Jeff, green foods are the highest on the DNA chain, and green foods are loaded with chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is the blood of plants with almost an identical molecular structure as hemoglobin, which is the blood of human beings. And basically, what that means in women's terms is that we harness the energy of the sunshine. And when the sunshine hits the plants, it creates what's called photosynthesis, or rich chlorophyll. And chlorophyll deodorizes and detoxifies the body. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. I remember the first time I took a green shot of green superfoods. I thought it was a funky color. Though I'm from Ireland, I should be used to green. And I took this green drink in Florida, and a guy gave it to me, and every fiber of my being, every cell in my body started to resonate. I thought, haha, that's what I'm missing. Because most people don't get the nutrients in their food, hence the reason why we have so many health problems in America. When you rotate your crops over and over, this is a farmer in me now, when you rotate your crops over and over and over, you destroy the topsoil. And when you destroy the topsoil, there's no phytonutrients in there. There's no nitrogen, there's no potassium, there's no minerals, there's none of the things that we need in order for our heart muscle to function effectively. Now, these green superfoods have 90 minerals, 22 amino acids, and 65% protein. When I discovered that, I thought, oh my goodness, the entire world needs to be taking this stuff, because, as I mentioned momentarily, we write too many prescriptions in America. We write more prescriptions than the entire world combined here in the
Wow.
United States. And so the further away we get from the land, the sicker we become. And the closer we stay to the land, the healthier we become. It's as simple as that. So what I did was I took a look, Brother Jeff and Miranda, at some of the longest lived people in the world. I wanted to know, what are they doing? I knew what sick people were doing because I had a lot of that in my family. I saw
Yeah.
that. I saw that in my community. I wanted to get away from that. I thought,
Yeah.
I don't want this road model. This map is not working for me. I simply didn't want that. So I started looking at the Hunzas and the Vilcaba Indians and Azerbaijanis, the Titicaca, some of the longest lived people in the world. They pray a lot. They give thanks for the gifts that God provides for us. They are graceful. They're elegant. They're sophisticated. They smile. Family is everything to them. They're very appreciative of life, community, and family. These are two things that are really important. When I was going through grad school, community and family are everything to them. They only eat that which they need in order for them to sustain themselves and to give themselves so much more life, and to give themselves enough to get to the next meal or the next day or the next week, whatever. They don't overindulge. We indulge so heavily here in this country.
Yeah.
This is why we have an epidemic, particularly as it relates to obesity and clinical obesity, and or diabetes, which, as I mentioned earlier, has skyrocketed in America. We have over 2,000 plus fast food restaurants open every year in the United States. Yet we throw away 50 million tons of food a year. It's really sad. We have hunger, we have homelessness, we have sickness, we have experimental jabs all over the world coming
Yeah.
out of people. Our body is so inundated with so much negativity and toxic messaging that we don't know what to do or how to think or how to even make a decision. We let someone else make our decisions for us. So when you take a green product into your body, the first thing it does, the Nobel Prize was won for this, by the way, 1939, 1941, proving that bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. So when you oxygenate the blood, you deodorize, you detoxify, you get rid of the waste. We talked earlier, Jeff, about healing from the inside out. And this is exactly what green foods do. They're like a rotor-rooter. They go in and they scrape away and deodorize and cleanse and oxygenate and feed the cells at the cellular level and get rid of the waste matter, the 40 to 50 pounds of excess waste matter the average person carries with them on a daily basis. That's the reason why colon cancer is rampant in this country, with over 2 million dying every single year, which is totally preventable. We don't get enough fiber, we don't get phytonutrients, we don't get the antioxidants, we drink too much, we smoke too much, we don't exercise as much as we would like to, we don't move our body, hence the reason we are at the mercy of the medical cartel.
Boy, that is it to a T. You have this product, and I know you have a lot more products, and I'd like to talk about more of them. But it is so simple to take. It's a little scoop of this green, real fine green powder. I put it in a little bottle, shake it up, and I just drink it. And let me tell you,
8 ounces of water.
8 ounces of water. And brother, I have tried other green products before, and man, they taste gross. Your stuff, your stuff is nice. It's so easy to take.
Thank you.
And that's helpful. I'm just going to be real with you. Sometimes the taste and things like that is a hurdle for people to overcome trying to get healthy, because we have conditioned our bodies to having so much sugar, having so much harmful things, that when it takes us months and months of being off of those types of products to realize how bad they taste.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone just the other day. One of my this is a confession, brother. Don't hate me, but one of the things I used to love ding dongs, the little ones that they would wrap them in foil. If they weren't bad enough, they would wrap them in foil. And then I used to eat those all the time. And about I don't know 6-8 months ago, I was like, I haven't had one of those in so long. And we used to sell them at our little store there at the hotel, and I went and got one, and I started to unfold it, and when I did, just the smell of the chemicals coming off of that, because I hadn't eaten anything like that in so long, I'm just like, oh wow, I used to just boom 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 put these in my body, and now I'm like, how did I do that? So the taste thing can be a deal, because people, they're so used to the junk food. They're so used to the fast food. They're so used to the processed foods that we use from a daily basis. And I'm going to tell you, your products that you have are amazing. They not only are they healthy for you, but they taste good. So that, I don't know. That's a great thing for maybe some new people listening that have never tried some of these. That might be something like, well, yeah, it sounds good, but man, that health stuff, that's just going to taste bad. I can't do it. But
and we noticed when we first started taking the Radiant Greens that we had more energy.
Yes.
And that was something pretty big for us, because it was one of those things where Jeff would come home from work and the first thing he wants to do is take a nap. And I would think, oh, I really want to exercise, but I just didn't have the energy. It didn't feel good. So of course I don't want to exercise. But after taking your stuff for, I think it was just a week of taking your stuff, we noticed a major difference in how we felt just in our regular day today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, at my office, there are mass cards from my patients all over the country. There are thank you cards all over my office every single day. People write me a letter and card and tell me thank you, thank you, thank you. And you're right, Brother Jeff, about those ding dongs and donuts and big gulps and French fries and soda pop and pizza and Pepsi and Prozac and all the stuff we put into our body. Our body is so chemicalized. It is so overpolluted. It is on overload. It doesn't know what to do. Hence the reason why we have these ab reactions. We gain more weight than ever before. So what happens is when you take in those extra carbohydrates coupled with the 50 to 150 pounds of sugar that we take in every single year, that's what the average person in America eats, 150 pounds of sugar. I mean, it's a year. That is hard to believe. This is why diabetes is rampant in this country, not only amongst grandma and grandpa, but also amongst our youth. This is why we have so many problems. So the pancreas starts to work overtime. It goes into hysteria mode. It goes into panic mode, emergency mode. So the pancreas is trying to compensate for all the extra sugar, not only the ingestion of the extra sugar, but also all the sugar that starts to get broken down partially as a result of the excess carbohydrates that you took into your body, because our basal metabolic rate, that's the rate at which you burn food for fuel as a source of energy, starts to slow down dramatically. I've seen people, 5 years ago, and then I see them 5 years later, and they've gained 150 pounds. I was wondering, wow, what happened? Did your thyroid stop working, or did you just start consuming excess calories or carbohydrates? Yeah. What happened in your life? So, and I get it. I get that there's so many people under duress and stress as we speak, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, as a result of our country being locked down for a couple of years. The coping mechanisms are not as good as they should. But here's the deal. I always found, and this works really well for me, I had prayer instilled in my heart and my spirit, in my consciousness, in my being, by my beautiful parents. We'd say the rosary every single night, not just once, mass almost a couple of times a week when we could, in between going to college and things of that nature. And I found great comfort in spirit, in connection, in having that magnificent connection with God. And when you have that, you can do just about anything. You can get a handle on pouring those ding dongs into your body. You know they're tasty. Yeah. You know they're going to cause you problems. You know you're not going to burn them off right away. And you know if you keep being addicted to those types of food, that sooner rather than later, the inflammation gets so high in your body, you start to have problems with your knees, your legs, your fibula, your tibia, your ankles, your heart muscle. Everything becomes inflamed until you have an ab reaction. And then you want to go juicing because you know that your life is on the line. You want to turn your whole life around. I met a lady recently and she said she mortgaged her whole house because she got cancer. She couldn't afford to go to these health clinics or she didn't have insurance. She couldn't afford to pay the doctors. So she said, I mortgaged my whole house and I started juicing like crazy to try and get her life and health back on track again. It's very much like a train that's left the station and you're running to try and catch up, but you know it's not going to happen. This is what happens to us when we have a cascade of sugar, a cascade of saturated fat, ding dongs and donuts and big gulps. We put that into our body. We add cigarettes. We add experimental stuff into our body that has never been tested and tried. And we wonder why we're the sickest nation in the world. Right now, America ranks almost last as it relates to healthcare in America and in the world, as per the WHO, the World Health Organization.
We put in sugar after sugar after sugar. We put in processed foods. We put in all of these chemicals. I used to use the little meat tenderizer powder. Then until I read something where it says, "Hey, that stuff never goes away once you put it in your body." So I'm still tenderizing myself off of barbecue that I did, 20, 30 years ago. So, we just think about all the things that we've done to hurt our bodies. How does this go in? So the Radiant Greens, the product that you have, they go in, they start cleaning things up. They start immediately trying to detox, trying to get these things out. One of the things you mentioned was our pancreas overloading. That ends up overloading our liver. Is that what leads into non-alcoholic fatty liver disease? Is that what leads into that?
Absolutely. By the way, the greens, when you heat anything over, good question, by the way, Brother Jeff, when you heat anything over 110, 115 degrees Fahrenheit, you destroy enzymatic activity and consequently the future life of the plant. So with these green superfoods, by the way, every herb that's in there in powder form, it's in a powder form specifically because of the absorption. It's all about synergy and it's all about absorption. These are some of the herbs that are actually in the green superfoods. Everything from dandelion, maitake, shiitake, cordyceps, cilantro. All these herbs are godly designed for your body to detoxify, to rid the body of the embedded waste matter that lodges in your cells and in your colon, which, as you mentioned, Brother Jeff, that causes non-alcoholic fatty liver and indeed our fatty liver as a result of consuming too much alcohol. The liver is the seat of all of your emotions, everything you say and do. I was watching a program the other night and they were talking about our words, why we use our words and how important our words are and what we say and do and how they harm us and how they hurt us, how they damage others. Every word transcends, every sentence that you say transmutes and transcends across continents. Of course, if you're exposed to this on podcast, all over the United States, wherever you're watching this program. So you have to be really careful of what you say. You also have to be really careful of what you put in your body, because your body is a temple. It's a place where you go and you pray and you give thanks for the gifts that God created for us. You want to make sure that you honor your body. You only get to pass this way but one time. You got to put these rich, live, whole food, plant-based superfoods into your body and watch the detoxification process start to happen. What will you notice? Hair, skin, and nails will start to grow like crazy. You'll notice a difference in your weight management. You'll notice a difference in your aura and on your skin and your face. You'll see a difference in your hair. You'll notice that you'll have a glow. You'll be lighter and leaner and fitter than ever before. You'll notice that your bathroom habits will improve dramatically. And you'll notice that you start to feel more connected to spirit, more connected to nature, because the further away, as I mentioned, we get from the land, the sicker we become. And the closer we stay to the land, the healthier we become. It's as simple as that. So the more green foods. Remember, I said earlier, Brother Jeff and Miranda, that 86% of the U.S. population hardly eat any. Certainly don't get enough fresh fruits and vegetables. The National Institute of Health said we must consume at least 13 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day. Most of us don't even get anywhere close. Too many fast food restaurants, too much packaged food. Hence the reason why our children have a really hard time with concentration. They did a study, a research study at, I believe it was Harvard University, and they took the graduating students and they gave a group of them ding-dongs and donuts and big gulps, a lot of sugar. They couldn't concentrate and their test scores were a disaster. They gave the other group plant-based proteins and green superfoods, lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. Not only were their attention scores better, but also their exam scores were off the charts because their brain wasn't clouded with all the excess sugar and carbs that they were taking in on a daily basis. That's why our children are on Adderall and Monster and Red Star and all those energy drinks that are full of caffeine to keep them awake, just to allow them to cope, to get through the exam process and indeed through college in general.
You mentioned a couple times some experimental things that have gone on. Let me be careful how I word this. If someone forced you into an experimental protocol or something to keep your job or something like that, and you're wanting some kind of treatment or protocol now because you're finding out the truth about all this stuff, is there anything we can do, any kind of protocol or products that you have would help to reverse some of the damage done by these experimental
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Brother Jeff and Miranda. Would you get into a plane with an experimental pilot?
Oh, no.
Would you drive down the freeway on a car with two wheels?
No.
You wouldn't do any of those things. Would you go to a doctor who has never practiced medicine?
Oh gosh, no.
Okay. So we are very quick to rush to make a decision here in this country because fear stands for false expectations that appear to be real. If you look back at the history of the German population, the leaders that they had in place who were just absolutely awful when it came to fear, they drummed the fear into the minds and hearts and soul through radio and through newspapers so that an impending event was going to happen if you don't take massive action. So fear stands false expectations that appear to be real. If you look at the Iran-Iraqi war, we killed 400,000 of our troops, of their troops and people, and 25,000 of our men and women in uniform here in the United States, yet we found no weapons of mass destruction. That was false. So a lot of the stuff that's put out in the media, for those of us who are mindless, we want to believe that our government could never say anything or do anything to hurt us or harm us. So the best medicine is you becoming your own doctor. So there are things, well, we never make any claims about anything. I tend not to do that. I just provide information for people. We have found that people who have engaged in experimental activities that are now hurting because they found out afterwards the regret syndrome. I think I might do a book called Regret Syndrome. The regret syndrome has set in. There are things that you can do. One of the best ways that you can get rid of some of these toxins and toxicity that's been attached to some of the experiments that people have been exposed to is to sweat. Far infrared saunas, because these toxins embed themselves in the very essence of your cells. They hide in there, and it's very difficult to get them out. They're very much like Lyme disease. So Lyme sits in, my honey had Lyme's. She was able to detox herself and get herself healthy. She was bitten by a tick twice in Lyme, Connecticut, where they did experiments. And she was bitten riding a horse in Malibu, California. That's why you see the horses, you see the animals go like this. They've got ticks, and when those ticks burrow into the spirochete, the same thing with these experimental procedures that have gone on for the last couple of years. So one of the best ways is to detoxify. There are far infrared saunas that you can buy. They're on my website. They're really, really fantastic. You should drink tons of water before, during, and after to get that waste matter out of your body. There they are right there. They're off the charts amazing. We can't keep them in stock. They're phenomenal. And then, of course, green superfoods, because the greens oxygenate the blood. Right. Bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an oxygen-rich environment. And then, of course, we have a lung formula that we've used extensively for the last few years, primarily based on old historic facts for its efficaciousness and potency and synergy and tremendous results. It's got mullein, and it's got marshmallow, and it's got sour cherry, and it's got hyssops. That's really, really powerful because it's going to clean up the liver. Remember I said earlier, the liver is the seat of all your emotions, and the lungs, they carry all our drama. They carry all our pain. They carry all the chaos in our life. They carry the lack of coping skills in our body. And so we tend to attach everything, as you mentioned, Brother Jeff, the lungs and the liver, they're tied together. The lungs, the liver, the heart, the spleen, the kidneys, these are all linked together. The urethra, the prostate, breast cancer, all these things are all tied together. So when you have excessive emotions, toxic and or otherwise, or hopefully otherwise you'll be positive. So, because Norman Cousins said that laughter is the best medicine, and he lived a long, healthy, joyous life, was able to turn around some of his health challenges. So the lungs, and then of course, for reducing inflammation, these experiments that have been done in the last couple of years on people create massive inflammation in the body. One of the fastest ways to bring that down, or at least certainly a way to try and get a handle on it, would be organic turmeric, which we have on our website, with black pepper and ginger, and then of course our omegas, because the omegas line the endothelium. This is where those experimental toxicity elements tend to travel to, and when they shut down the heart muscle, they cause a cascade of free radical damage. And what's a free radical? A free radical is a bit like it's a bit like two dogs hunting in the middle of the night, trying to find something to eat, and one dog finds something to eat, but the other one doesn't, and the other one gets so angry it eats the other dog. So that's what a free radical is like. It actually causes a cascade of damage, and it destroys and hits like a runaway train, a runaway big wheeler. It becomes a runaway big wheeler inside of your body, and it knocks down everything in its path. That's what has happened to all of those people who've been exposed to these experimental procedures over the last couple of years. And now they're wondering, how do we fix it? How do we get it back on track? And of course, working with your doctor is also very important to make sure that you get the right nutrients, you get the right elements, the right superfoods, the right advice, because most of our doctors, unfortunately, have not had any experience as it relates to supplementation and or superfoods. And so they may not know, but do ask questions of your doctor to make sure that you get your heart strong. Then, of course, CoQ10, which is a critical element for the heart. That's something we didn't mention. That's also very powerful and very important, because the ejection fraction of the heart muscle has been affected dramatically because of all these experiments over the last couple of years. Hence the reason why you see a lot of our athletes, our celebrities, having tremendous challenges, ab reactions with their heart as a result of the toxicity associated with these experimental procedures.
Wow, that man, you threw out a lot of good stuff, guys. If you want to go back and replay that, write those things down, go to his website. You can find all of these things. Even has some bundle packages I noticed in there. This is that CoQ10 product. I want to go back to one of the products that you had just mentioned earlier, though, was your organic turmeric. Here we go. So this product here, I know a lot of people, if they're having some inflammation or something like that, they'll go and they'll take some ibuprofen, they'll take some acetaminophen, they'll take something like this. Is this a good, is this product here, is this a good substitute instead of taking an ibuprofen, instead of taking like a Tylenol or something? Is this something else that somebody could do to help reduce inflammation in their body.
For sure. We have become, Brother Jeff, a nation of pill pushers, pain
Yeah,
pushers. It's either fentanyl and or it's some other NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. It's some form of painkiller. The challenge is when you take these painkillers into your body, sooner rather than later, you will become dependent on it and or your heart muscle will stop. That's the
right.
problem with fentanyl. It literally wipes you out. Some of the Sackler family members were asked, what's the purpose on the Netflix special? You can watch it yourself. What was the purpose of fentanyl? And the executive said, to make sure you never, ever can wean yourself off this drug. It's that powerful. So we
Wow.
become so dependent in this
Wow.
country. I want to shake people. We become so dependent of popping pills, trying to fix our problems with a pill. And we know that is a terrible, terrible thing. Prince, the great musician who I loved from Minneapolis, he had to have an emergency flight land for him so he could get some medication and or he could get some medical aid because he was flatlining on the jet. I forget the name of the drug they were giving him to reduce the actual situation that he was in. And so we see so much of that happening. Our youth today are dying on the streets. I saw a Netflix special about a business that was trying to open in some city on the East Coast. And the executive said, well, what about all those homeless people? He said, don't worry. It's a true story. Don't worry about it. They'll all be gone in the morning. So the 900 mass suicide in the United States in a leading city close to Washington, D.C. in the morning, they're saying, oh, mass suicide amongst homeless. Homeless people don't commit suicide ordinarily. They gave them all fentanyl to clean up the streets. And this is what's happening in Los
Wow.
Angeles. This is what's happening in San Francisco. We have more homeless, and I feed the homeless. I have a ministry for the homeless called GWL, God's Will. We have more homeless men and women in the United States, primarily in California and in Northern California due to our incredibly great weather, albeit we've had some rain recently. But ordinarily, we have a huge homeless population. They're now dying remarkably because they're giving them cheap knockoff Chinese fentanyl, which is infiltrating our country and our young youth and dying needlessly on the side of the street
Oh,
and in colleges and college campuses and rave parties all across the country. It's absolutely awful. So yes, so I was watching my colleague and good friend, Dr. Oz, who I just really admire and love. He's a really good man. He's a surgeon. He's very smart, MD. He said that turmeric, this is quite remarkable, particularly for those of us who are older or don't have a good handle on our memory is weaker than it should be, or it's been exposed to a lot of free radicals, particularly saturated fats and processed food and genetically modified food. He said turmeric untangles the tangles in the brain. Now, what does that look like?
Oh,
That looks
wow.
like
really?
yeah. So, but not just any turmeric. Most of the turmeric that comes into America, as of a couple of years ago, was full of lead. So the then President Barack Obama banned all lead-based foods and goods and services and toys and supplementation that had lead in it. And that's a really good thing that it did. Prop 65 here in Southern California, no lead. So our turmeric has got black pepper and ginger, but no lead. And that's why people really feel really good on it. But when you pop pills over and over and over, the heart muscle doesn't know what to do. And after a while, it either kills you and or recognizes, oh, give me another one. Oh, the pain's still there. Give me another one. The pain's still there. So you keep taking copious and copious amounts of these pain pills. Then you add a couple of glasses of wine, a couple of whiskeys, a couple of vodkas, a couple of pints of Guinness. Then you add bad food, and then you create a massive cascade of free radicals. And is it any wonder that our celebrities are dying by the thousands over the last couple of years? And that's not an exaggeration. That's true. We lost Elvis Presley's daughter, who was my neighbor down the street here, Lisa, the beautiful Lisa. She died recently, taking
Wow.
lots of pain meds as a result of some pain or some fall. Opioids are a huge issue. So we
Yeah.
consume, as I mentioned so many times on this podcast, we consume too many drugs to fix our problems. They don't fix your problem. If you can avoid pain, if at all possible, there are natural remedies. Herbal remedies don't just fix the problem immediately. You got to get a handle on it. Ask questions, ask a family member, ask a good doctor, ask a holistic doctor. Your medical doctor may not be trained in holistic herbal
Right.
medicines. So find a way. I had to do that. I had to find a way because I had a fall several years ago in Sedona, Arizona. I fell at 5,300 feet in the middle of a very hot desert, and I hit my face and hit my shoulder. And the first thing the doctors wanted to do was not only did they want to put me on pain medication, but take out my piriformis muscle, which runs down here in your butt cheek. And I said, no, no, thanks. I'll take my chances with natural remedies. It took me a while, but my late mother was passing at that time, and I was trying to deal with it psychologically. I was trying to deal with letting her go and what would happen when she would go and how I would handle it. I didn't do a very good job, I must admit. How can you when you love someone so much?
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thank you.
Oh, bless you.
Do you have any tips for somebody that might be trying to improve their gut health? We know a lot of our brain function comes from our gut health. So kind of the seed of everything.
You got that right, Miranda. I have a wonderful guest on my podcast this weekend. I'm on President Kennedy's nephew, Bobby Kennedy's chd.tv. Hopefully I can mention that. Her name is Dr. Sabine Hazen. She's a gastroenterologist, one of the most researched doctors in the world. And I say that without exaggeration. Has been studying gut health for 20 plus years. She has a practice here in Ventura and in Beverly Hills. She sees a lot of celebrities. We know from the Hunzas, the Vilcabay Indians, and the Azerbaijanis, some of the longest lived people in the world. They took a look at their flora, their friendly flora in their gut. We have about 7 to 14 pounds, some people more, some people less. Most people are around 7 pounds or so. Most of that microbiome or gut flora is contaminated, can be, but not always, can be tainted as a result of meat and dairy-based products that have a lot of salmonella in it and or hasn't been purified or processed properly. So I had a colleague in town the other night, and he went out to some restaurant, and his cousin told me today, yeah, I had some chicken and he got salmonella poisoning because either he did not have enough flora in his gut and or the chicken was contaminated or wasn't cooked properly. That's the challenge. I'm vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for 20 plus years now. I grew up with bacon, eggs, and sausages and fried bread and all that stuff. And I loved it, just like Jeff loved those little ding-dongs. But I was always sick. I was always at the doctor. My concentration scores were bad. My test scores were poor. I couldn't sleep at night. I was having those nightmares, as we mentioned. I was on medication as a young man. How awful trying to fix my problems with medication. Right. My parents didn't know any better. So gut health has now been linked to brain health and vice versa. So the friendly flora in our gut crowds out the bad bacteria. And when it does that, that's the first seat of how powerful your immune system is actually going to be. It gives you I should say much more correctly, it's the first indication of how strong your immune system potentially will be if the friendly flora is balanced. But the friendly flora is off an awful lot of the time due to our dietary habits and or the choices that we make on a daily basis. Particularly meat-based products tend to have a lot of bacteria if not cooked properly. We have a huge issue with bovine growth hormone. We genetically modify our food. We give them lots of vaccines. So we damage the meat. And so now we're damaging the livestock. So now we're also damaging the bloodstream, the friendly flora in our gut. So we have to really proliferate the friendly flora in our microbiota, as it's called, and our microbiome. And when we do that, our brain health improves dramatically, our overall sense of well-being improves dramatically, and our gut flora keeps our immune system strong because that's where our immune system is needed the most. So you protect the gut, you protect the brain, and vice versa.
That's great. That's great. What about the big C word that people are just terrified of? What about
that his fiance passed away from?
Yeah.
What about cancer?
I never knew, Brother Jeff and Miranda, what the big C was when I lived in Ireland. In fact, I didn't even know what racism was until I came to America. I didn't know what those type of things were. I didn't know why we could dislike our African-American brothers and sisters. It makes me really sad, especially what's going on in our world. It's timely. And what happened in Memphis was a disgrace. I'm ex-military. And while I like our men and women in uniform, I am humiliated and disgraced at what happened. And I'm sad to see that we just keep pumping drugs and more drugs and more drugs and more drugs towards the big C, but it doesn't really work. And what we really should be looking at is genetics. We should be. I know some hospitals are doing that. We should be looking at one's microbiome. We should be looking at one's dietary habits. We should be talking about food and how important food is for you, particularly green foods and red foods, because the green foods are the highest on the DNA chain. They oxygenate the blood. And bacteria and viruses, as I mentioned, won the Nobel Prize in 1939, 1941. Dr. Otto von Warburg won the Nobel Prize for this, proving so the more oxygen you take into your body, nothing can survive that. It just obliterates it and kills it, more so than anything else, more so than any antibiotics. So we write too many prescriptions in America, way too many. So we should be looking at food as a tool, as a source to provide tremendous longevity, immunity. We should be also looking at our emotions. We should be looking at toxicity. We should be looking at toxic people, and we should be looking more at laughter. We should be looking more at having purpose and meaning. When I was going through grad school, my professors are all fantastic. My professors told us that when patients go to a doctor, the patient gets really well very quickly when the doctor says, you know what, when you take this superfood, when you take this vitamin supplement, when you do this, in a very upbeat, lively, energetic way, the patient always got well. Now, when they told them that what I just told you was just incorrect, they reverted back to the old behavior, meaning that they took on the same characteristics as they had in the very beginning. So it's very, very important that we use uplifting messages when we speak to people, such as through these programs, that our message, as we mentioned earlier, can transcend through the hearts and souls and minds of other people watching the podcast, so they in turn can send it on to other people, and they feel the same thing, because you are much more powerful than what you believe that you are. So the big C is a tricky one. It's genetics for sure, about 1%. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't have that in my family. I have a lot of heart disease in my family because my family had a lot of saturated fat, bacon, eggs, and sausages, and fried bread, and smoking a lot. I don't smoke. I don't have those propensities at all. So I had to, Brother Jeff, I had to go out and break that stranglehold. I had to ask God for strength in that one. I had to go and break that stranglehold, because that has been with me I'm 64 now, as I mentioned, in a couple of days. I had to break that because I thought, I'm not going to go the way my brothers have gone. I'm not going to go the way my cousins and relatives have gone. I don't want that. I'm going to break this stranglehold. And that's exactly what I did through the power of superfoods, through the power of plant-based vitamin C. I'm a huge proponent of IVs, vitamin C, glutathione. These types of things provide significant support to a body that's been genetically challenged and or environmentally challenged. Also pollutants and bacteria, environmental factors, methylparaben, propylparaben, propylene glycol, ethanol, petroleum-based products in our shampoos and in our deodorants. You beautiful ladies, your makeup, your hair care, your eyes, all these things have a lot of chemicals. And so we are a chemical factory about to explode. And you wonder what this does to the cells. It damages the cells. And when you damage the cells, and when you have toxic emotions, toxic food, toxic people, everything becomes very toxic. And it creates a cascade of problems leading to what we call that big C that we don't want to mention.
Yeah. Well, what would you say, Kelly Joe in the comments, asked a real simple question. Step one, how does someone get started? Maybe this is their first time hearing anything like this tonight. What would you recommend as someone's really first step to getting healthy?
That's a good question. I get asked that all the time. I think one of the first things, Brother Jeff, they need to do is do an assessment of where they're at with their dietary habits, where they're at with their life. We all set a New Year's resolution, and by the time January the 30th comes around, we've broken that resolution like right away. We said, we'll try next year. We'll try again. We'll try again. It's like falling off a horse again, back on again, falling off again, back on again. That's okay. So I think one of the first steps is to take a look at, what am I eating right now? How is my overall health? When was my last physical? What's my cholesterol look like? What does my blood pressure look like? What's my weight look like? Am I happy with who I am?
Well,
and I can tell you that you should just love yourself silly, love yourself unconditionally. Be thankful for the gifts that God provided, provides for you and is providing for you and will provide more so for you in the future. Be thankful for your family and friends. Be thankful for the situation that you're in, but be working on making things better for you. Not only maybe your family life, maybe your home, maybe you want to have a child, your marriage, your relationship with your family. These things are really, really important as it relates to overall longevity and good health. And just be thankful because we live in America, but be working on you. So that would be the first step. Take stock of what you're eating right now and say to yourself, man, this is not serving me at all. I need help. Reach out and ask someone. Send me an email. Ask me. I'm happy to help you. Free advice. Ask somebody. You know, it's amazing to me. I have a lot of friends in LA, and many of them have health challenges of all shapes and sizes, but they never ask me for advice. It's amazing to me. They never say, you know what, Tony? Let me give you a call. I really have a problem. I want to sit down with you in a restaurant. Can you meet with me? Because I got a lot of health problems. They never ask me. They take it. They either just carry on doing what they're doing. And a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And if you just keep on doing what you're doing, you're going to get the same results. So the key is take stock of where you are right now. Take a look around you and say, who's making me sick? Who's making me overweight? Why am I eating all the same food as the kids? And don't be trapped and don't get beaten up about, oh, the family made me do it. The family made me do it. One of the good things you should do is to join a gym right away and get help and ask the trainers. Everybody wants to help you. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We've got another question here from Val. She says, what are the best vitamin supplements and foods for aging skin? Since I suffer, looks like from dermatitis, sensitivity to fabrics with lycra, spandex, which a great majority of clothing is made from these out of these types of materials. So what's the best vitamin supplements and foods for aging skin?
Hey Val, you have a beautiful name there, Val Torres. That's a good Spanish name here in Los Angeles. I found that name when I first came out here. I have a funny story to tell briefly. I was meeting a guy in San Diego, and he said, "Meet me in La Jolla." I had no clue that it was spelled Jolla. So I was driving around for half a day trying to find this place called La Jolla, and I was thought Hoya. I thought Hoya. Hoya. I was looking everywhere. I was
that's
passing the
great.
street. It was really funny. Same with the place street called Hamishaw. I thought it was spelled Hammeshaw. It was Jamacha. It was in Spanish before I started to learn how to speak Spanish here in America. Best thing, Val, for your skin is water, fresh fruits, and vegetables, and of course, natural skincare. And I have an amazing skincare line. It's not mine. It belongs to a wonderful lady from India, and her and her husband live in Virginia, live in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And if you email me, if Brother Jeff will give out my email, I'll send you the link and you can get the skincare, and it's out of this world. So what I use personally on my skin, I don't use any makeup from any of the TV news networks. If I have to, and most stations now are high def, I don't have any makeup on this skin, as you can see right now, but sometimes they require you to have makeup on high def. But if you're not in the television world and you're in the other world that you do on a daily basis, working here and there and everywhere, a good cleanser is also really important to cleanse your skin, because your skin is a symbol of who you are. Everything you eat is part of your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is throwing off all the toxins and all the toxicity. So it's all going to come out in your arms, your back. Some people have got a lot of little spots on their back and their legs, or they've got acne on their face. So a good natural cleanser is really important. Apple cider vinegar is really good, or even white vinegar, and or a little eucalyptus in a cotton wool. Just do that all over your skin. That's going to clean the bacteria. And nothing like washing your face with water. And then, of course, a plant-based diet is the key. And then, of course, your hormones. If your hormones are out of whack, then you'll certainly have more problems with your skin. And anything like the lycra and the stuff the fabrics and stuff that you're using, go to cotton. Use more natural stuff. Of course, during the wintertime, cotton is not that warm, but use warmer stuff. I have a nice scarf on here. I have a little scarf on my neck. I use all natural stuff, nothing with a chemical in it. I can't use it. It makes my skin very itchy, and especially during the summertime when it's 100 plus degrees here in California, my skin is really sensitive to not only to perfumes and deodorants and shampoos, but to clothing as well. So I become very chemically sensitive, but I use only natural, non-toxic, affordable, effective remedies. So that would be something I would start with. Cleanse your skin with a good cleanser, drink lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, and use natural stuffs. Make sure the stuff does not have some of the chemicalized manufacturing stuff that they use that's overseas that they put in some of the clothing, especially the silk stuff and some of the other stuff have a lot of chemicals in it, and you're allergic to that. So you're obviously very sensitive. That means that your body doesn't like that type of clothing and or that type of skincare. So it's saying to you, hey, Val, I need to change what I'm doing because it's not working. So use natural stuff. Cotton is best when possible.
That's great.
I beg your pardon. Linen is best. Linen is best when possible. Cotton's also
Amen.
best.
Amen. Yeah, we're big fans of linen. Amen.
Yeah. We have another question from a listener. They want to know, they have an underactive thyroid and they are on medication for that, and they're wanting to get off that medication and be able to heal their underactive thyroid.
Yeah, well, that's something we talked about earlier. The thyroid is very much like the accelerator in your car. If you got a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, you got a truck, you got a car, whatever, that's what your thyroid looks like. So the thyroid regulates your basal metabolic rate. That means the rate at which you burn food for fuel as a source of energy. Our thyroids have been burned out in this country because of processed food. We've literally destroyed it. This is why Chinese and Japanese women are very lean, they're very fit, because they get a lot of dulse and they get a lot of kelp in the food that they eat. We have a wonderful product for that. It's called Thyroid Plus. We have the drops and we have the capsules. You should get the drops and the capsules. We have them on our website if you don't mind giving that out, Brother Jeff.
Which one was it?
radiantgreens.com, the website. So that will really help you a lot. Then, of course, work with your doctor. They usually give you thyroxine to help your thyroid work. When it's underdeveloped, then everything you eat just tends to go to your stomach or your legs or your arms. And so that becomes a real challenge. One of the ways to reactivate that is definitely through diet. And there you go, Thyroid Plus. That's pretty amazing. It's on our website. I know Brother Jeff will give that. There you go, right there, radiantgreens.com. Just go on the website and get that. It also comes in it comes in drops and capsules. The capsule, you can take a combination of both the capsules and or the drops. So it has dulse and kelp and various seaweed components that are used by the Chinese and the Japanese, who are the longest lived people in the world and also have perfect thyroids. We just process the life out of our thyroid here in this country. And it's like, as I say in Ireland, it's like flogging a dead horse. It's like driving a car with 4 ball tires. That's what our thyroid looks like when it's burned out. So we have to get medication either to compensate for the underactive thyroid and or to try and jumpstart it and or just to help us cope. You can get it back. It takes a long time, but really watch what you eat, because everything you eat just goes right to your tummy. And so you gain a lot of weight when your thyroid's not working effectively.
Wow, that's tremendous. I'm telling you what, you could spend hours on your website, brother. I just scrolled through. I've popped up a couple of pictures of your products, and that's just one screen, guys. If you just keep scrolling, there's so much packed into your products. They are just amazing. I have another question from a listener. Says Jessica says, what would you recommend for a stay-at-home parent? She says it's almost impossible to cook quick meals, much less meal prep with lots of vegetables. My husband works, so most of the time I'm watching my baby. How can I make sure my baby and I are that she's nursing can get the nutrients that they need?
Yeah, thank you for being a stay-at-home mom. Where would we be without our mothers? Where would we be without the wonderful women who bring children and bring us into the world? Where would we be without women in general? So thank you for that. I appreciate that. That's the story that happens all the time. How do we find balance? In fact, I'm doing a television show about this type of thing in April. I'm going to be filming here in LA with the potential and possibility, God willing, that I get my own national talk show like Dr. Phil and Dr. Roz. That's what we're working on right now. One of the questions that people were asking me was, what do you do in this situation? So it's ironic and a coincidence and a blessing that this question has come up. I am a vegetarian, so I like big stews, particularly when the weather's a little cooler. So I cut up every single vegetable I possibly can. I add some turmeric and I add lots of spices in there with carrots and potatoes and onions and lettuce, and I just throw everything in. I mean, I literally throw everything that's cabbage. I throw it all into a big pot and I stir it up, and I keep adding those spices and ginger and cayenne and turmeric, add them all in there. That's really good. If you want a good protein powder, we can provide you with that on that website. You can get the vanilla protein. It gives you 21 grams of protein per serving. That's a good way for you to get your nutrients. Then you can add in the greens, my radiant greens, and which we didn't mention was my pomegranate. So the greens has 10,000 milligrams of veggies in one bottle, and then the reds, the pomegranate, has 10,000 milligrams of the pomegranate plus all the berries. So every fruit that you could get in your local grocery store is in there, and every greens, there you go, every greens that you can get is in the greens. So you mix the two together with the protein. That's going to guarantee you that you get all the nutrients that you need while staying at home, while also allowing you to stay healthy and stay well. I don't know if Brother Jeff can pull up a picture of the vanilla or chocolate protein. We only have vanilla right now. That will really help you tremendously. Gives you 90 minerals, 22 amino acids, 65% protein, and 21 plus grams of protein with L-glutamine. There you go, right there. There's the vanilla protein. So that's 2-pound jar. You can add that to the shake, the greens, and the pomegranate, and that will give you all the nutrients that you need. So when your honey comes home in the evening, you'll be ready to go. The dinner will be ready. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a mother. Thank you for being a great wife. And thank you for being who you are. Appreciate you sending us an email. That's the best way for you to get your nutrients. Then, of course, if you want to juice during the day too, you could buy spinach, cabbage, kale, celery, cilantro. Buy all that stuff at your local produce store, because that's the real way to eat. That's the nourishing way. Have some green tea, have some ginger tea if it's cold in your neck of the woods, and I assume that it is at this time of the year because we're cold here at the moment. And that would be a good way for you also to provide some nutrients, not only for you, but also for your baby as well.
Oh, wow. That is just great.
That's wonderful.
That is just great. Dr. Tony, it has been so awesome to talk with you tonight. I have your email address up there. It's doctony20142014 at gmail.com. We appreciate you.
Do you have a link for his show? He has you do a live show.
Yep.
You said on Saturday?
Yeah, it's CHD, Children's Health Defense, CHD.TV, The Solution with Dr. Tony. It's live every Saturday at 12 Pacific time. CHD, like California Highway Patrol, but it's CHD, Children's Health Defense.TV. And it's called The Solution with Dr. Tony. We are live every Saturday and at 12 o'clock Pacific time, which would be in your neck of the woods. There you go, CHD.TV, The Solution with Dr. Tony. And probably 2 o'clock your time, I'm assuming. But all my shows are archived. You can see them all on there. And I have Dr. Sabine Hazan, the microbiome doctor, the researcher from Morocco. She's on this Saturday at 12 o'clock. And I have different doctors from all over the world. They join me. Our show is seen all over the world.
Well,
that is wonderful.
We have thoroughly enjoyed you being on tonight. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule to come over here. You wanted to show that?
Yeah, if you when we placed our order for our greens, and I also got the I got the liver drops, because you all know I've had trouble with my liver. When we got those, we received his booklet as well in the mail, and it has
everything,
all kinds. I'll just show you one page here, but it has all kinds of his products in here, telling you what's in them and what they can help you with.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. And guys, this stuff really works. And
yes,
it's such a blessing. And Dr. Tony, thank you for doing what you do.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
I thank God that He's given you the grace to go through the situations in your life to get you where you are today. But that's something that the Father does. He sends us through those refining fires to produce that refined silver, so that we're able to come out and be a blessing to other people that are going through the same things that we've had to go through. So thank you for your obedience. Thank you for the time taken to learn all of these things and to get them into a form that's easy to take and easy to acquire. Tony, I was looking through the list and just scroll after scroll of all these things that you pop in here. It would take you several Mack trucks to go to the store, to go to the fields, to gather all of these ingredients, try to process them correctly, because if you don't process them correctly, they don't work. And thank you for taking the time and effort to do all these things. This is such a blessing. Guys, if you have not gone and checked out Dr. Tony's website, it's radiantgreens.com. Let me pop it back up here again. Do so. Go there tonight. Look at what he's got. If you don't start off with anything else, start off with the Radiant Greens.
Yeah.
Listen, proof is in the pudding. This stuff works. It is great stuff.
And you cannot get products that are actually good for you.
Yeah.
Right? We can go to our regular box change store and look at the vitamins, the supplements they have on the shelf.
Yeah.
And Jeff and I, here one of them that we had gotten a long time ago. We found we just started looking at the ingredients and researching them. And one of the ingredients in the vitamin was a compound that is used to make construction materials.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would we put this in our body?
Yeah.
And we've also learned that a lot of those products that are offered at regular stores also contain just fillers.
Just so much filler.
And they can get by with that. They're allowed to get by with putting mostly junk in those products and then selling them to you, claiming that they're going to help you.
You're thinking you're getting 100% of this product.
Right.
And binding and filler type stuff. I'm sure you have to do that with something just being
right.
But man, the majority of their product is the filler, and you're just getting this tiny little bit of the maybe good stuff.
We don't use any of that in any of our products.
Hallelujah.
Wonderful.
Hallelujah.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
That's great, brother.
And by the way, you should put a health seminar together for all your team and for your ministry, and I'll come out there and do a lecture.
We will do that.
Cool.
We will absolutely
really
do that.
Cool.
That would be great. That would be great.
And by the way, as a token of appreciation for all your viewers, if they want a free consultation, they can email me, set it up, and there's no charge. I'm not here for money. I'm here to be a servant of the Most High.
Oh, thank you so much. That is a blessing.
And listen, guys, I want to tell you, every time that I've ordered from Dr. Tony, you give me a call. You call, you leave a voicemail, I get an email.
Yeah.
And if I call or email you back, you actually respond. And
yes, sir.
And that's actually how we got to talking tonight. And you're very down to earth. You're very personable. Thank you for being humble. Thank you. And listen, it's just a great thing to see someone just walking in the fruit of the Spirit, walking in gentleness and meekness and love and patience, kindness, long suffering, all these things.
With so many people out in the world that don't care, that are pushing things at you that are harmful. Here is somebody who truly cares and has made products to help you succeed. What was the verse that you talked about today?
Oh, it says, but ye beloved, or it talks about how God wants to bless us even as our soul prospers. He says he wants us to be blessed, to be in health. He wants us even as our soul prospers. So as we read the word and our soul is encouraged and our soul is growing, we're transforming our souls by the word of God. Even as we're blessed like that, God still wants us to be blessed with our bodies.
Yes.
And these are some things that we need to be doing to bless our bodies, to build up our temple, to get us to a place that we can walk around and be a blessing. Guys, if you're walking around with no energy, you're not going to be able to be a blessing to someone. If you're hurting so bad all the time, it's going to be hard for you to open your mouth up to bless someone. Listen, get to working on your temple. Go to that place that starts with a G and ends with a Y and an M.
We've been doing it.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dr. Tony, do you have any final words or anything like that you'd like to add before we close out tonight?
Well, you just gave me a book title, Working on My Temple. So that was really worth it, Brother Jeff. So I get all these book titles from everybody that when I hear they're speaking, I say, wow, that's why I really try to really listen really well. So Brother Jeff just gave me a book title.
Amen, brother. That's good.
I'll give all the money towards your ministry. So, growing up in a family of 11, I'm so grateful for my wonderful parents. I'm grateful to have immigrated to the United States and to all the people that inspire me and have helped me, and the people that helped me manufacture my formulas, my great friends, the opportunities that God has placed in front of me, and the opportunities that still have to come. And I'm so thankful to you and lovely Miranda, whom I've never met, but I feel like I've known you guys forever. It's amazing because we speak the same language, the same word, and we care about people. And this is why I believe that this program that you're doing is going to be seen nationwide. We need to get you syndicated so more people can reach you. then I'll come and sit beside you or in the middle of you, and then we'll help each other expand this whole ministry all over the world and help other people, because so many people, as you can imagine, are hurting and they need help and they need coping skills. And so that's why we are a vessel for good, and we're thankful and we're grateful. And I appreciate you both very much.
Well, amen. Well, brother, we thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye to you. And if you'll hold on just a minute, after the program closes, I'd like to say a few words to you. But we're going to put you back in the green room, close out the show, and we'll go forward from there. But we'll be right back with you in just a minute.
God bless you all. Thank you so much
for coming on. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh, Miranda, I'm telling you what, that was such a blessing.
I am encouraged, guys.
You know, you don't find someone this successful. He's been on CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox News. Now all these, you know, he's been on with knows Dr. Oz. He knows been on with Dr. John. All these great things, and he has a very successful business and great products. But he's still you can just talk to him.
There's a love for people.
You can definitely tell there's a genuine love for people. He wants to help you. My gosh, he gives out his own email.
Yeah.
Come on. He returns phone call. It's just an amazing thing. Guys, if you don't take advantage of this, shame on you. You're missing a tremendous opportunity. I just want to throw out his website again. If you haven't gone there, go there tonight. Look at some products. If you don't start with anything else, start off with some Radiant Greens. RadiantGreens.com is the website. Go there, start off with that. Guys, try this out. It will bless you. Your body is craving these nutrients. Your body was designed by Yah to bring these things in to function. And it's one of the reasons that we're having such a hard time functioning today is because we're not taking these things in, Miranda.
Yeah. Well, we had just read a couple days ago where an apple today has the amount of nutrients. It was one apple in the past.
Yeah.
Would equal 21 apples today.
Yeah.
Nutrients level.
Yeah.
So this is how our soil is just gone. Yeah, all the nutrients in our soil, everything is gone. And so it's hard to get what we need, even if you are eating fruits and vegetables. It is still hard to get all the nutrients that you need. So that's where these products
our ground,
really
all of our soil is just depleted with stuff. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Yah tells us to let the land rest every 7 years. You know, there's all kinds of things in the scripture and then there's a reason that God put his instructions there. He made all this. He knows how it all works. So hallelujah. Guys, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We would love to see after the program closes out tonight, if you have some more questions or anything like that, pop them in. We'll also we'll try to get you back in touch with Dr. Tony. He has been just tremendous. Guys, go check out his website. Go find what he's got going on and get involved. Today is the day. The Bible says today's the day of salvation. Today's the day that you need to make a positive choice in your life to bring that answer in. God has given us some answers. It's up to us. The Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. Today is the day of the choice. He says, I set before you a choice today, life or death. I would that you choose life. Guys, this is life. Choose life. Hallelujah, guys. All right. We love you. Shalom, shalom. We will talk to you guys later next Monday. See you then.